From the earliest days of human civilization, morality has been celebrated as a cornerstone of societal order, a guiding principle to distinguish right from wrong, good from evil. But is ethics truly as noble and universal as we have long believed? Or is it, in fact, a social construct designed to regulate human behavior for the benefit of larger power structures? Friedrich Nietzsche, the renowned philosopher of the 19th century, provocatively referred to traditional morality as slave morality, a system devised to protect the weak while restraining the strong. According to Nietzsche, values like humility, sacrifice, and obedience were not virtues but tools of control, subtly compelling individuals to suppress their instincts and conform to societal expectations. Sigmund Freud echoed this skepticism, though from a psychological perspective, he described morality as an external imposition planted into the human psyche through the superego, a societal voice that dictates right and wrong from childhood. For Freud, moral behavior was not a conscious choice but a learned compulsion that often clashes with instinctual desires. The concept of morality, when examined through the lens of history, proves to be anything but immutable. In medieval Europe, obedience to the church was synonymous with virtue, while dissent invited persecution. Centuries later, modern societies celebrate freedom of thought and expression as moral ideals. This historical shift underscores a crucial insight. Morality is not a fixed truth but a flexible system shaped by cultural, social, and political forces. This dynamic nature of morality invites us to question whether ethical standards serve collective well-being or simply mask individual and societal self-interest. At Practical Philosophy, we explore these intricate psychological and philosophical themes to shed light on how morality influences our decisions, relationships, and societal structures. Stay with us until the end for more insights. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to continue this journey of discovery. Anthropological studies suggest that morality evolved as a survival mechanism. Early human tribes, recognizing the necessity of cooperation for survival, adopted behaviors like food sharing and mutual protection. These practices, initially rooted in instinctual self-interest, became social norms reinforced by collective reward or punishment. As tribes expanded into organized societies, morality transformed from an unspoken agreement into a codified doctrine often dictated by the ruling class. Feudal systems, for instance, labeled loyalty to the monarchy and church as moral imperatives, while dissent was vilified as heretical. Religious institutions have historically played a significant role in shaping moral standards. Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism, among others, provided structured ethical guidelines that fostered social cohesion. However, these moral frameworks also served as instruments of power. The medieval Catholic Church, for example, used moral dogma to justify tax collection, military crusades, and the persecution of dissenters. In my view, this intertwining of morality with authority reflects humanity's tendency to weaponize ideals for control rather than collective well-being. The relative nature of ethics becomes starkly evident in cross-cultural comparisons. In Japan, the samurai ethos once dictated that failure to uphold honor warranted ritual suicide, a moral code vastly different from contemporary Western values that prioritize individual survival. Similarly, collectivist societies often regard personal sacrifice for family or community as virtuous, whereas individualistic cultures emphasize personal freedom and self-actualization. This cultural variability suggests that morality is less about universal truths and more about societal convenience. Moreover, the moral standards shaped by religion vary significantly across traditions. In Buddhism, ethical behavior revolves around compassion and the principle of non-harming. Yet interpretations of these principles differ between Theravada and Mahayana schools. In contrast, Abrahamic religions often emphasize obedience to divine commandments. These differences illustrate how religious doctrines mold morality to serve specific spiritual and social objectives. Psychological research supports this notion, indicating that individuals raised in strict religious environments often develop heightened moral rigidity, sometimes at the cost of personal autonomy and mental well-being. War provides a striking illustration of ethical fluidity. Acts of self-sacrifice during wartime are typically glorified as heroic. Yet from an individual's perspective, such sacrifices might feel like coerced submission to collective interests. Conversely, acts of self-preservation, condemned as cowardly in times of conflict, align with the instinct for survival that psychology identifies as fundamental to human nature. History offers countless examples where moral rhetoric masked less altruistic motives. The medieval witch hunts, for instance, ostensibly aimed to protect religious purity but often targeted independent women who defied patriarchal norms. Modern society continues to grapple with these ethical complexities. The advent of social media has created a performative moral culture where individuals feel compelled to showcase their virtue publicly. Movements advocating veganism or cancel culture often start with ethical intentions but can devolve into tools of social coercion. From a psychological standpoint, this phenomenon reflects what Freud termed moral anxiety, the internal conflict arising from the pressure to conform to societal norms. Artificial intelligence introduces new moral dilemmas. Self-driving cars, for instance, may face situations where decisions impact human lives, raising the question, what ethical principles should guide these choices? Additionally, surveillance technologies, ostensibly employed for public safety, blur the line between collective security and individual privacy. In my opinion, as technological capabilities outpace ethical frameworks, society must adopt more adaptive moral guidelines that balance innovation with human dignity. The fragmentation of moral consensus in today's world further complicates these issues. Globalization exposes people to diverse cultural norms, challenging the notion of universally accepted ethical standards. Practices like vegetarianism, women's rights, and personal freedoms are lauded in some societies and contested in others. This moral plurality, while enriching in many ways, also fosters societal divisions, as individuals struggle to reconcile personal beliefs with collective expectations. The psychological toll of modern morality manifests in increased rates of anxiety and depression. The relentless pursuit of moral perfection on social media, for instance, can lead to cognitive dissonance and emotional exhaustion. Authentic ethical behavior, ideally rooted in genuine compassion and integrity, often becomes secondary to the desire for societal approval. From a therapeutic perspective, this dissonance suggests a need for more intrinsic, self-reflective moral development rather than externally imposed standards. Nietzsche advocated for a re-evaluation of morality, proposing that individuals embrace their instincts and assert their will to power. He argued that genuine creativity and self-fulfillment stem from transcending restrictive moral doctrines. Freud, meanwhile, cautioned that unchecked instincts could lead to societal dysfunction, emphasizing the importance of a balanced interplay between individual desires and communal norms. Pragmatism offers a middle ground, suggesting that moral judgments should prioritize outcomes rather than adhere to absolute principles. Interestingly, moral relativism introduces the notion that ethical standards are not universal but context-dependent. For instance, in cultures that prioritize community well-being, behaviors like gift-giving may symbolize social solidarity. Yet, the same practice in highly individualistic societies might be perceived as manipulation or bribery. This perspective aligns with research in cultural psychology, which reveals that moral reasoning often reflects underlying societal structures and survival strategies. Psychological studies also expose the darker aspects of morality. Altruistic behavior, long regarded as the pinnacle of ethical conduct, can sometimes mask underlying self-interest. Experiments in social psychology demonstrate that acts of generosity often correlate with a desire for social recognition or reciprocity. This suggests that, beneath the veneer of moral behavior, humans may subconsciously seek personal gain, whether in the form of status, acceptance, or power. In contemporary society, ethical discourse must evolve to address the complexities of technological advancement, cultural diversity, and psychological well-being. Rather than clinging to rigid doctrines, we might consider ethics as a dynamic, context-sensitive framework. This approach would encourage individuals to act from informed self-awareness rather than fear of social retribution. At Practical Philosophy, we strive to uncover the psychological and philosophical intricacies behind moral behavior, providing valuable insights to help individuals navigate their lives with clarity and purpose. Follow us on our channel, like, comment, and subscribe to continue exploring these profound topics together. Ultimately, Morality is neither an inherent truth nor an outright deception. It is a social construct that reflects humanity's collective experiences, fears, and aspirations. By critically examining the origins and functions of ethical systems, we empower ourselves to adopt moral principles that genuinely enhance well-being while respecting individual autonomy. The true essence of morality lies not in unquestioning adherence to tradition but in the conscious, compassionate effort to navigate the complexities of human existence with integrity and empathy.